Hi, and welcome to another one of my 15-minute snappy chats. This is all about learning and growing with each other in business. I'm Christine Bell. I'm a customer strategist, but we're not going to be talking about me today. Today, I have the wonderful Heather here, who we're going to be talking a lot more about Heather shortly. But before that, I just want to say this is an opportunity for all of us to learn and grow together. And I've just got my wonderful friend Mike here already. He's the first one in. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you, Mike. From the Hounds of Business. So we're just going to be talking about learning and growing together. So this is going to be awesome because the one thing I have learned in business for the last 8 years being on my own in business is that it get really, really lonely. And the fact is, most of us, especially when we are small business, a one-man band, two-man band, 10-man band, it can get like a lonely ride. And it's really important that we learn from each other and that we stick together and we get to know other people, because I have certainly found myself in my business that having other people going through challenges with me makes it a lot more easy, I guess, not easy, but it makes it more manageable to go through those challenges because we're not alone. So with this in mind, I got the wonderful Heather with me today. I actually met Heather, I think about 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years ago. I think it was on a networking event. And then it turned out we're both living in Sydney, and we called up a couple of times, 3 times, 4 times already in person. And I've seen you at many networking events as well with Edward Sear. We can't forget Edward Sear either. He's amazing too. And he runs some great networking events in Australia and Sydney in particular. So with this in mind, Heather, you are an amazing person. I know you and I get on so many levels, but what I love about you is that you're very holistic. You're very in touch with your intuition and who you are as a person. And you've translated this into how we can have a better relationship with money, yeah? In terms of how we turn our relationship with ourselves into actually creating wealth in our lives too, and how to build that. So thank you so much for being with me today. And please share a little bit about yourself too.
Yes. I mean, I think you covered a lot of it, but yeah, I call myself a holistic money mentor, and I help people really heal from the traumas and wounds they have around money, either their own wounds or maybe even ancestral wounds. So I start with that, which is very pivotal, but then I help people really build a predictable passive income so that I can help heartfelt entrepreneurs to do the work that they're meant to do. And I just love to support people to really do their heartfelt work rather than just leave it to all the big corporations to do it instead.
Yeah. You know what I love about this is because I think most of us, and you touched on this many times, and I've listened to some of your work as well, is money is emotional. Yeah. And for me, it definitely is. We grow up with different life experiences in different families, and we take on board the relationship that our parents have with money as well. Or if we don't, we find our own relationship with it as well, which may be positive or actually negative in terms of hindering us. And I certainly know this because it's been one of my big things to really learn and work from in the last couple of years. So I really appreciate what you do. Now, tell me a little bit about being in business and how you've also, obviously, I'm sure, had some challenges in terms of building your own business.
Yes, it's interesting. I mean, the challenge I want to talk about today is, so I've been in business about 4 or 5 years, and I think looking back at the beginning, I just felt like I was playing at being in business. It was almost like my brain knew that I was in business, but my emotions didn't. And so I was kind of, because I'd never been in business before. So it was kind of like, I was going and doing the networking, and I was putting up things on social media, but I didn't really know the full picture. It was still kind of new to me. So it really wasn't until I started seeing real clients and really started to help people, like deeply help people, that a couple of years ago I really got a shift, like a mental, it was almost like an emotional shift, like I up leveled, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm in business. And all my body and my cells kind of aligned, and it was just like, yeah, this is more serious. I kind of know what I'm about now. And I noticed I've done a similar up leveling just recently. It's almost like it comes in waves. It's not like you just wake up one morning and say, right, I'm a business person, having, been in corporate for many years. It takes a while for your nervous system to really adjust to that. So it's quite interesting.
That's a huge thing that you're covering there. And I totally agree with you. Unless maybe if we come from a family or parents who were always entrepreneurs, had their own business, we might have grown up with it. But like you, I didn't grow up with it. And I was in agencies working with corporates, and my parents were, had full-time jobs. So I never grew up with it either. And you're right. When I started business, I just started it because I couldn't keep working for someone else. I had no idea what I was doing, what I was going to do, except that I needed to work for myself. That's all I knew. And then you realize that, oh my goodness, there's a lot of upskilling, yeah. And there's a lot of figuring out who am I in relationship to my business, and how do I want to present myself, and even what am I offering, yeah. Even figuring out the offer can take a while, and refining it and working through what really is useful for others. But like you said, once you start having clients, there's definitely a shift, because now you're actually learning and growing as you go with your clients. Would you agree with that?
That's it. So every client is like a research respondent. I'm learning about each client. I'm learning about what's required. I'm learning about all the different problems that people have. And so as I started off my program, I started with just three steps, and then as it goes on, I'm like, okay, I think I need to add another step, and then another step, and it's kind of interesting how it just evolves. And if you don't talk to people, if you don't have the conversations, if you don't actually do the work, then you can never get from A to Z. You can't just go straight to Z. You have to go through A, B, and C. So it's just an evolutionary process.
It certainly is a learning and growing process for sure. And I just want to give a little hey to Mike, who is thankfully here with us live. He's the only one at the moment, so I appreciate you holding up the fort, Mike. A lot of people watch these on replay, and he's saying, great point about what we're talking about. And also, if you grow up poor, and we don't know what we take with us in terms of our how we grow up, and how we come to be who we are, in our relationship with a lot of things in life, including money. Yeah. And I know that you had a different childhood, and I know you had a dad, I don't even want to talk about it, who was really good at teaching you the way as well, in terms of around money too, isn't it? And that's helped you in your business in terms of evolving your offer, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a real lottery ticket, isn't it? Who your parents are, and whether they're in the ability to actually teach you. I mean, I've got clients whose parents knew a lot about investing, but for whatever reason, they didn't share it with their children. So even if the parents knew about it, it doesn't necessarily translate into a lesson. But for me, I was just really lucky, because my dad just had that. He was just a bit of a forward thinker. He just had a different way of thinking about life. And yeah, he involved me even when I was 6 years old. I was part of that conversation, and I'm very grateful for that, because and just as an aside, it's amazing how much a 6-year-old can understand.
Yeah. We absorb a lot when we're kids, a lot more than I think our parents realize, even what we probably realized until later, how much we absorb from them. And so I love that point as well. And I guess in terms of moving you through into your business, I guess you just knew this was the area that you wanted to work with in terms of helping others.
Yeah. I mean, I've been investing my whole life, as I said, but in England, it's a bit of a taboo subject. So I did the whole thing in secret. But I just always knew that there was another way. Like all my friends, they just kept getting second and third jobs, and they had all this responsibility. So I just really wanted to help them just to be who they were, and just to be able to have some me time. That's really where I sort of came from.
Fair enough. So in terms of building your business and figuring it out, you were talking about this thing of feeling like there's an upshift energetically, which I totally agree with. And I know both you and I are quite spiritual, and we align very much this way. And I certainly didn't grow up with that either, but it's come to me in terms of my personal development journey in the last 8 years. It kind of just came through. Now, for me, this is a really important point in terms of feeling into who we are when we're building a business too, in terms of evolving and trusting our intuition. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's almost like we have to sort of make some sort of contract with the universe. I think we have to prove that we're serious about what we're doing, because if we just kind of just show up and then fly by night, we just don't show up after a few months, then obviously that we're not committed to what we're doing. So I think the universe, I think ourselves, I think other people, there needs to be that establishment of trust that you are there for the long run, you are going to be there to help them, and that you are who you say you are. But that takes time.
It's coming home to ourselves, really, isn't it? And this is the one thing that surprised me when I started my business. I started working for myself, not knowing exactly what I was going to do and how to do do it because I had no experience in what it meant to have a business. Yeah. But it's such an important point in terms of this thing of, I didn't realize it was going to take me on a personal development journey. And I didn't realize how important that journey is in terms of really getting to know ourselves, like you said, and how important that is to embrace all of ourselves. And that includes the hard stuff, yeah, in terms of growing into the person that we want to be in business and the one that is the best at helping others, yeah, because it takes time to learn how to help others too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel really grateful that I can just hold that space for people. So regularly I hear people saying, gosh, I've never told anyone this before, and just seeing every time I see big, huge shifts in their relationship with money. And it doesn't really stop at money, because money is just the starting point, because money just represents so much else for people that I get to sort of help them in other ways as well. But just things come up, and it's just a kind of a metaphor for other things.
Nothing is ever isolated. Yeah, everything always interact with each other. Our emotions, our perceptions, our mindset, our physical body. I think everything works together. Would you agree in terms of, it's all holistic. It's all, everything needs to grow together almost. But sometimes we grow more in one area and then we've got to level up in the other area too.
Absolutely. Well, our brand is called Finding Equilibrium. So it's all about finding balance across all areas of life. So it's not just about money for money's sake. It's money for well-being's sake. But also our model includes physical well-being, mindset and emotional. It covers the connection to yourself, to the universe, to other people, to your purpose, and also money and time. So all of them need to be in balance to be a well person. And also there needs to be balance within each one as well. So it's that there's this constant balancing act that we're playing all the time.
Yeah. And wonderful. I love your points. And Mike is saying you're really awesome as well. So guys should definitely connect afterwards. He's a great friend of mine in America and he's awesome. So with this in mind, in terms of coming back to the challenge you had in terms of really sort of, I guess, up leveling and really figuring out what your offer was and how to, get serious in business and find your business person, your business avatar. Yeah. What's your greatest advice to people who are going through the same challenge? And I would argue this is everyone in small businesses. Yeah. That will go through this challenge, whether they're conscious of it or not, is a different matter.
Yeah, I think my advice would be just to keep showing up. It's so important just to, even if you don't quite know where you're going yet, it's just to keep showing up. And I saw something recently that showed that all these big companies that we know, like Sony and Nokia, they started off as completely different businesses. I think I'm not sure if it was Nokia, but one of them started off as a toilet roll manufacturer, like completely different. So you just need to start. You just need to sort of be out there and start having those conversations, because the road lights up before you as you start walking down that path. So it's amazing.
Totally agree with you. And with this in mind, sometimes it takes time to build a business. We don't necessarily go in and make money tomorrow. And I think sometimes what I've seen with small businesses is, they're have gone away, possibly because they left a job that they were unhappy in. They're working through some stuff. They're creating a beautiful offer in isolation. Yeah. And then they suddenly go, oh my goodness, I need to make money. Yeah. And then instead of really working through the strategy, they jump straight to, let me guess my target market. Let me guess what the offer should be and how I should communicate about myself. And let's just put money and time into the website, the social media company and all that. And it's kind of like this run by money and fear rather than really taking the time. So my suggestion is as well is, either have some money behind you or figure out how to make money at the same time, so you're not so desperate to just jump in without having some more clarity around how you want to show up. How do you feel about that advice?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's what I teach people, of course, is to get that passive income coming in anyway. Because if the passive income is coming in, then that means that there's that time and space and energy to really be able to focus on what it is that you're offering, and just not have that desperation that, it's kind of the opposite to attractive to clients if you have that sort of unspoken desperation. So, yeah.
And that is so true. A lot of people, and this is what I've learned through my own personal development journey and spiritual journey, is if I have clogged up feelings inside that I'm trying to suppress, that I don't want to look at, whether it's fear, guilt, shame, not good enough. If I just try and suppress those stuff, then I might think I'm pretending pretty well. But the fact is, energetically, other people pick it up, even if they can't put their words on it or their finger on it, they're picking up the energy. So the energy of fear, whether you think you have hidden it, is still coming through in however way we show up. Isn't that true?
100%. Yeah. I mean, obviously we're energetic beings and we can just tell, like, just sometimes you meet someone and you just have that really good feeling about them or a really bad feeling. And it's like, what is that? And that's the energies that you're speaking about.
And it's so true with clients as well. You know, it's first and foremost energetically, and I didn't learn this in business school, how we respond to someone else. We pick up an energy within 30 seconds or less of meeting someone, and we pick it up, and we might not be able to put words to it or quite figure it out, but we can feel it. And if we feel into it, we will know whether it's the right or wrong person for us to spend a lot of time with. That's to say we can't spend time with people we don't resonate with, but you know, there's a difference between spending time with people and clients that we really resonate with versus the one where it's always going to be an uphill battle.
Absolutely. And then there's some lovely flow that can happen when that happens. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and there's nothing better than working with clients where there's a flow going, because this is where real co-creation and collaboration and new ideas come in.
Yeah, I love it. I love that feeling of excitement and creativity. It just keeps me going.
And exactly right. And that's what keeps me going in business too. Now, apparently Mike is saying we are finishing up now, 16 minutes over. So not over, but 16 minutes and 40 seconds in. Mike is the only one I can see today. Apparently there were 6 other people trying to get in, but LinkedIn Live are very glitchy at the moment.
Oh,
so
no.
The joy of technology and LinkedIn is quite a special experience. So if you ever have problems, don't worry. It's usually LinkedIn, not you. Sometimes it's me, but usually it's LinkedIn. So thank you so much for your time. Now that we're finishing up, how can people reach out to you? And do you have anything you want to promote or share with people that you're doing in your business? And feel free to also post in comments afterwards so people can find you.
Absolutely. So probably the best way to get hold of me is via LinkedIn. So Heather Mitchell, one word, is the normal string with Heather Mitchell on the end. And yes, I'm about to launch a holistic money circle where people can share there'll be a theme every month. Like I think the first one will be about regret. So we can kind of just realize that we're all in the same boat and just have a bit of healing going on around that particular topic. So if you're interested in getting involved, just let me know.
I think I might be interested too. So I love that, Heather. So definitely let's get if you have a link to it, let's get it in the comments so everyone can share. And I just want to say, Mike, again, bless him today. He's our biggest fan today. So I appreciate that. He's saying thank you so much and a great live stream. And he loves the idea of what you're doing. So thank you so much for people we can see and can't see who's here today. I really appreciate your time, Heather. And I can't wait to see you again soon in person as well and chat more.
Thanks, Christine. I loved it.
Wonderful.